So I saw a question online which really irritated me and it made me angry actually. The question was how to become a millionaire in 69 days. And I was really reflecting on this question because it triggered me because I really have a big frustration whenever I see things like this because they don't really reflect the real path to success. So I made some notes that I thought you might find useful, that I thought maybe might add some value to you in your own life. I'll share them with you, and I hope you. I don't know. They may help you. They may not. I don't know. Okay. So the first thing that I wrote down in bold letters is you do not want to reach this money this quickly. Everything has a price. So very simply put, there is no way that you should be able to become a millionaire in 69 days. 69 days, give or take, is essentially 3 or 4 months. It is not, now, let me rephrase this. It's possible, but as an exception, but it's not realistic. And I say this to you only because part of becoming successful is that an element of it is you have to be delusional, but the second aspect of it is you have to deal with reality. Let me put it like this. So let's say you want to build your own house. When you first want to build your own house, or you buy a house that you is derelict and you want to build it to whatever you want to build it, you can have this incredible vision of what you want to create, of what you want to do, what walls you're going to knock down, where you're going to build this, where you're going to put the pipes and the heating you're going to have. That's one part of life. The second part of it is you have to deal with what happens when your contractor lies to you, when all of a sudden you thought it wasn't going to rain, but it rains for the next month. You have to deal with, you might have to do a bat survey that you had no idea you had to do, and that may take 3 weeks, but you've got builders there and you can't do anything until the bat survey actually comes through. Do you see what I mean? So it's one thing to dream something and to want something, it's another thing to actually deal with the reality of it. And what you want to be careful, which is where I've myself almost fell into, and a lot of people fall into, is to only focus on the vision and not on also the reality of it. In fact, life is this balance between vision casting, then rectifying your vision based on reality. Does that make sense? So it's, let me put it like this. So when you're cooking food, they say you cook the dish, but then you have to taste it for salt because you might find actually there's less salt than I thought. So you might need to add a bit more salt. But then when you add the salt, it might get off balance and you have to add in some pepper or whatever it may be. And this is what basically life is. So when people say they're going to be, do you want to become a millionaire, and you're lured to becoming a millionaire in 69 days, what you are essentially saying is that you don't realize that there is a huge price that has to come with this. Because the way life works is that life is built on a bunch of principles. Life is built on a bunch of laws. And one of the laws that exists in the universe is that you can only reap what you have sown. Now, let me say this. There is always an exception. Here's what I found though, which is really the great problem that many of us face. I have found that people who have accomplished wonders, people who've accomplished the most incredible lives, think they're very ordinary. And ironically, people who are failing and haven't achieved a lot in their life, every time I meet them, they think that they're the exception to the rule. They think that they're going to be the one. Yeah, but Cass, you don't know. I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be the first. They are living in delusion and not, they don't understand that the world is built on these laws and these principles, and the world functions in a certain way, right? And so once somebody understands that, they then understand that I'm going to have to pay a price for this because I have to have earned this. And again, as I say, there are exceptions to every rule. But the problem is, if you think you're the exception to every rule, then you will do the basic things. People who become exceptional are very, very good at doing the basic things. They work extra hard than everybody else. They do the really easy things that they can do. If you think you're the exception and you think you're special, you won't do things that are basic. And so what I would say to you is when you're asking the wrong question when you say, can I become a millionaire in 69 days? The question you should be asking is, what is the price that I would have to pay to become a millionaire? Right? Because technically speaking, no one really knows. I'm sure it is possible. But the question is, what other things would you have needed to be set up and to have set up over a long period of time that would allow you to have that spurt? I say this to you because in Japan they have like this the bamboo tree, and the bamboo tree you plant it and not and you have to water it for 6 weeks and nothing will show. Then after 6 weeks, it will grow from nothing to a huge bamboo tree. But the problem is people forget that you still have to water it for 6 weeks and there's nothing showing. And that's what the way that you have to think about success. You have to have earned it. You have to have paid the price to be able to become a multimillionaire. I get it. You're saying, well, what if I inherit it? What if my parents give me money? What if I win the lottery? Well, that's not what we're talking about here, though, is it? Because again, you're going back to trying to be the exception. You're going back to saying you're the one person out of all the people who play the lottery. You're the one person who's going to win it, right? Remember, there's nothing wrong with dreaming. There's nothing wrong with vision casting, but you then have to deal with reality. I was saying to my friend Razvan today, it's actually quite horrible what I said to him, and I felt really bad because he wants to become a footballer. And I said to him, Razvan, you realize that 0.5% of footballers make it. And I was giving him the example. I said to him, if we took an EasyJet plane, which holds 180 people, that means less than one of those people would make it. That's crazy. That's insane, right? So the chances of actually making it are very little. But I also said to him, but that means one person could make it. You see what I'm saying? But then if one person makes it, that means all the other 179 have to come to the realization that they're not going to make it. The question is, how quickly do they come to that realization? And can they go a different way or a different route to also still become that multimillionaire? Or can they be okay with just earning 200,000? They may not be a multimillionaire, but they've earned 200,000. You see what I'm saying? This is the way that I personally would recommend to you, you start seeing the world. You can see however you want because it's your life and you can do whatever you want. But my personal recommendation to you is to consider some of the things that I'm saying to you. That's the first thing. Two, consider the kind of philosophy you'll be passing down onto your children. I only say this because as I've got older and I've matured as a person, I've come to the realization that the world isn't just about me. When I was younger, everything was just about me. I want it, so I should be able to achieve it. Well, yes, but what damage is it going to do to your family, to your reputation, to your self-esteem? Yeah, I should be able to eat whatever I want. That's fine, but what is it going to do to the NHS, right? What is it going to do to the NHS? What is it going to do to your fitness? What is it going to cost taxpayers? And one of the things that I would personally recommend to you to consider is I would ask you to consider, if you decide that you want to be able to earn a huge amount of success, huge amount of money without being worthy, having earned it, what kind of thing are you teaching your kids? Because remember, we can only teach our kids what we believe. There is a saying that says, don't tell your kids, show your kids. The problem is, you can't, if a kid sees you winning the lottery or playing the lottery, even if you keep telling them, oh, you should work hard, all they're going to take in is, yeah, but dad, you don't do that. You don't work hard, right? And I've seen this working in a school. I've seen this firsthand where I've seen kids who don't want to turn up to school, who don't want to work, and yet their parents are trying to push them to go to school. So your parents don't work, and yet you're trying to get your kids to go to school and do homework and stuff like that. And it's like there's a disparity between what you're saying and what you're trying to sell your kids on and what you're actually living. Kids aren't stupid. They pick this stuff up really quickly. So I do think that there is a huge problem that has been that has infiltrated society, where a lot of problems that are occurring at the moment is because nobody wants to do the work. Nobody wants to wait. Nobody is patient. Nobody wants to earn what they have. They just want to win it. They just want to microwave it. They just want to get it. Um, and I would personally say to you that as a society, we need to build a society where people earn what they have, rather than we sue people to get what we want, right? Where we play the victim and we earn it that way. That's just my personal recommendation. It's your life, you can do whatever you want. The third thing that I wrote down here is there's a difference between need and deserve. I wrote this down because a lot of people say, well, I need it. Yeah, here's a problem. Needing something and deserving it is not the same thing. And what I would say to you, and you've probably seen, this is one of the themes of this entire conversation, is you have to learn to earn things, right? Just because you need money to pay your bills at the end of the month, it doesn't mean that you're deserving of it. You've actually got to go out there and do the hours and work the night shift, or do work with people who you don't like, or do a job you don't like, or whatever it may be. You've actually got to provide some kind of service, some kind of product, in order to be worthy of such money. Now, once you have it, then you deserve it. But what I don't want you to get into, and is a problem that I've seen with a lot of people, is people think that just because they need something that they're deserving of it, which they're not. We're not deserving of something just because we need it, right? You may say, well, my workplace needs to give me time off work. Well, I'm sorry, but that's just not, just because you say that you deserve, that you need it, it doesn't mean that you deserve that time off work. Have you worked in the workplace long enough? Have you asked for the holiday in advance long enough so that your work can bring people in so that they can give you the time off? Like, it isn't just about you. And I've just noticed a lot of people are struggling in life because they just are not doing what they're capable of doing. They're putting a huge emphasis on other people carrying them. When I work in a school, what I say to the students is that you have to do 80% of the carrying, and the 20% is the support. The problem is, too many people, too many kids, too many of us in society want the world to do 80% of the carrying, and then we do 20%. Or rather, they want the world and society to do 80% of the support, and they want to do 20% of the work. It doesn't work like that. We have to do 80% of the carrying, the vision casting, the planning, the putting in the effort, and then other people will come along and support us. That's just what I believe. Again, it's my personal philosophy. You can do whatever you want. It's your life. The last thing that I wrote down here is that success is predictable. Set it up so that you can predict your success. I wrote this down because there is this. I almost applied to. There's this company called Omaze, this charity, and they had this incredible house, and I wanted to play the Omaze. I think you pay like £10, and then I stopped myself because I was like, hold on a minute, Cass. You're trying to earn something which realistically you haven't earned. You're trying to reach a level which you're not really worthy of, because otherwise you'd be able to buy the house yourself. And this is the way I was thinking about it. I was like, Cass, the house is on the market for 3 million, over 3 million. If you were really deserving of that house, you would buy it yourself. And I was like, instead of me focusing on trying to win, pay £10 and trying to hopefully use luck and trying to wing it to earning that kind of a house, why don't I just set my life up, write my books, coach people, um, uh, skill acquisition and skill acquisite my way so that I can earn and buy the house myself. I was like, why don't I just do that? And here's the problem: it takes time, right? Are you seeing the theme of this entire conversation? This is why it's so frustrating, and I really got really frustrated when I saw this, because I was like, it takes time to create value. It takes time to build anything of worth. You don't just get it overnight in 3 months. You've actually got to put in work. Now, again, in saying that, it doesn't mean that if you've done the preparation work, if you've done the setting up, yes, of course you can go from zero to a million to a millionaire. But the point is, you've got to do the prep work. You've got to put in the effort. And what I'm seeing is a lot of people don't want to do the effort. We just want to succeed without preparing, without doing. A lot of us want to pass the exam without revising for it, without going to the classes. And it doesn't work like that. And it causes huge resentment, huge anger, huge frustration in society when a bunch of people are all wanting things that they haven't earned, that they don't deserve. They may need them, but they don't deserve them. And I've noticed that the longer you live trying to wing it, trying to achieve things without being like setting yourself up and planting, right? Your life becomes more, you become bitter actually, because you keep seeing all these people earning this, having this, and yet you're not. And it just makes you more and more and more and more angry. And my recommendation to you, and again, this is my recommendation, is start setting yourself up so that you can be worthy of this stuff. I know it may take you 15, 20 years, but at least it's better to do that than keep playing the lottery. The chances, if you look at, I have something which I call do the maths. If you look at the maths, you're more likely to actually achieve your dream, even though it's going to take you 20 years, by doing the work and putting in the, making the sacrifices and planning it, than it is winging it and waiting for the lottery or an inheritance to come through. Again, that's my recommendation. It's your life. You can do whatever you want, but that's what I would personally recommend to you. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Write your comments below. Send me a message. You know, I'm always keen to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.